Today's episode is part 2 of The Pain Didn't Win, where we are diving deep into our trauma and healing through God's grace. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, go check it out. We opened up about our own stories and how trauma played a massive role in our lives. This is a safe space. We're not here to sugarcoat or perform. We're here to be real. Today, we're diving deep again into the things that tested our faith, pushed us to our limits, and could have broken us. But God, His grace kept showing up, and now we get to sit here, healed in progress, and share the strength that came from the struggle. So whether you're chilling on the couch, hustling through your day, stuck in traffic, or wherever you may be, welcome to Rooted in Radiance, where faith gets real, fun, and a little bit emotional sometimes. Let's grow together, glow together, and keep it all the way honest. Hello, everyone. I'm Giselle.
And I'm Sandy.
And welcome back to Rooted in Radiance. So with part 1, Mama Dukes, we got into a very deep conversation.
Oh, boy. I must say it was very deep.
It was. Yeah. And today's no different.
Yeah.
We're going to get deep again. Because I feel as though when we're talking about trauma, there is no other way but to get deep. And I feel like today you are going to come up a little bit more to speak and talk about what we experienced after we left Jersey and moved to Virginia, which I feel like not many people really know.
No, they don't.
So, are you ready?
I'm ready as ready going to be.
Okay, so the episode is The Pain Didn't Win. And today is part 2 of that. And we didn't get to really talk about healing in grace and God's grace with part 1 because we was just really talking about trauma. Sure. And I feel as though today we're going to be able to, once again, talk about trauma, but we're going to be bringing in our faith and how we got through everything.
Correct.
So the first things first,
yes.
I guess I'll open it up as to what we're talking about when we say the trauma when we left New Jersey.
Yes.
We ended part 1 with discussing the trial and Dad having the trial was a not guilty verdict and how hard that was on us as a family. Basically, it was really, really hard. I remember for me personally, after looking at my father's killers every day for basically 3 months, and then hearing that not guilty, it was right before Christmas. Yes. So I didn't go back to school. And I remember I was so depressed. I just stayed in my room majority of the time.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
But we was like, we felt as though it was time to move. It was just time to go ahead and start fresh, start new. So we moved to our place now, Virginia. And we loved it. And it was just like, finally, fresh start. And we're just happy. But then it's graduation day. I'm finally graduating high school.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody tells me, obviously. But after I graduate, you pull me to the side and said, I don't want to scare you, but something happened with Pop. And he couldn't walk up the hill. We thought he was going to pass out. And I was like, what? He was like, don't worry, we'll take him to the doctor. Everything's going to be okay. Yeah, I just wanted you to be aware of what's going on. So we didn't really think much of it,
right. Right. Thought it was hot.
Mm-hmm. What were you thinking during that time?
At that time, I really just thought it was hot and, it was a humid day. And because you're retired now, you don't move as fast as you used to. So I just assumed he was a little out of shape. That's all.
But we later found out that he was having an issue with his heart.
That is correct.
And I feel as though the biggest day for us that we knew something was wrong was when we saw him walking out the bedroom and he couldn't really make it out the bedroom to the living room without falling and almost passing out. Right. So you sat in the doctor's office.
That is correct. Like 7 o'clock in the morning when they opened and said something's wrong. And they took his vitals and said they couldn't find anything wrong. And I sat there and said, well, I'm not leaving. Because I've never, there you go. Because I know something's wrong with him. He cannot walk. Yeah. So then he said, maybe you should take him to the hospital. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
Find out we had to carry him to Richmond and to have some tests run. And they said that it looked like he had some blockage.
Yeah.
So we were going to have to do surgery.
And I mean, like, what went through your head when you heard, like, Papa has to have surgery? Like, what was the first thing that happened?
Well, the first thing you think about, you know you're getting older, but you don't expect to hear, like, you're going to have trauma with the medical scene. Mm-hmm. And the thing of it is, you know, him and I both felt like we were pretty good in shape, so everything should be fine.
Yeah.
He was a little overweight, and they kind of like hurt his feelings, saying, you know, you're a little obese, and when somebody calls you obese, of course you're going to start trying to lose weight and hopefully everything, which he tried to do. So by the time the surgery came, I was in, I don't know what gear I could say. I mean, I was just in faith mode. That's what I was doing at that time.
Yeah.
Basically praying everything's going to be okay. We're going to be fine as a family.
Yeah, like, you didn't make it feel like so anything would go wrong.
Right.
It was, you told me, like, Giselle, this is pretty normal.
Yeah.
You know, so many people have surgery,
Yeah.
heart surgery.
Right.
I remember when the
It's
doctor...
called triple bypass.
Yeah, I was going to say, the doctor said he has to have a triple bypass.
Right.
And I was like, well, what's a triple? And he was like, well, that is kind of up there, you know,
Yeah.
like, that's 3, and it's not just a bypass or a double. So then, like, I obviously it was a hard moment around that
Right.
time. I still think about the time, like, for his surgery, when I was like, so Mom, you know what goes into a triple bypass?
I'm trying not to laugh. Go ahead.
And you literally told me it's when they take his heart out his chest and put it on the table and work on it. And I was like, Mom, I don't think that's possible.
I said, oh yeah, they have a pump that keeps the heart pumping while they're working on it.
I was like, I don't think so. So during this time, we're still laughing. Everything is still, like, pretty normal. Nothing felt different yet.
Yeah, right.
And that was a big word, yet. Because at this point, it's just, okay, he's having surgery. He's going to be okay. It went well.
Right.
We had, our faith was tested for a second. We had a disagreement.
Yes.
And then because just so much was going on.
Right.
But then everything was fine.
Yes.
Signed up rehab and came home. Everything seemed great until the day he needed to start rehab.
Right. And it was good. It was right around the street. We didn't have to travel far. And when he went to go for his rehab the first day,
Yeah.
his blood pressure dropped so low, they looked and said, well, this is not normal, so we're not going to do anything because we're afraid you might pass out.
Yeah.
So we went back, called the doctor, went back up. They checked everything. Everything looked normal. So now we're back home trying to do rehab again.
Yeah. So it was just, once again, seemed fine.
Yes.
He started going back outside.
Yes.
Cutting the grass.
Yes.
He was even driving a bit.
Yes.
And then one day, it was just like a switch. He stood up and passed right out.
Yes.
And then he started having seizures.
Yes.
And it was just getting worse.
And then when he would go outside to cut the grass,
he was falling off the lawnmower.
yeah, and hitting the lawnmower, driving up into our cars, the house. He was passing out.
And he
we
wasn't
didn't know.
telling us.
And not telling us.
Because,
Come
you know,
in.
Papa, very strong will. He wasn't going to tell us something was wrong.
And we wouldn't know. And then one day you looked at the lawnmower and said, Mom, why we got this big dent in it? And I was like, I don't know. Something's not right. So then he started speaking about how he felt tired all the time.
That's true. Yeah. How he felt tired. And then I feel like afterwards, it just started going downhill.
Yeah. Yes.
Whenever he stood, the blood pressure dropped drastically.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, we was just in and out the hospital for months. A year.
Over a year.
In and out the hospital. And
nobody knew, but many
very
times
close
we would,
family, and that was it. Like,
and
we kept it very
we were
private.
Spinning at the hospital.
Some nights, or
well, maybe a week at a time.
I was carrying my hamster.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're right. We had to sneak him in to get to the
sneak the hamster, and Papa was like, "You brought that little rat on."
Exactly. And spending time, when he didn't want us to go because they said he acted better when we were around.
Yeah.
So
and I feel like, come to find out, he was allergic to the medicine that they were giving him.
Yes.
And it was causing early onset Alzheimer's
and hallucination.
The hallucinations was bad.
Yeah, it was to the point.
Look, another funny story.
Okay.
When he was in the hospital and he said that there was a bomb in the hospital.
Yes.
And he told me to go lay on the floor.
And you went.
Yes, I went. I didn't know what to
And
do.
I had to tell you, get up off this dirty floor.
Get
You
off
kidding
the
me?
floor.
You're in the hospital.
And so when I would try to stand up, he said, "Don't listen to her. Didn't I
Yes.
tell you there's a bomb?"
Well, how about when he said that the nurses was on drugs
and
they were
stealing his medicine.
and stealing his medicine.
Yes.
So see, this is what we were
Or
going
when he
through.
escaped.
Oh.
The ultimate escape artist.
The day that he escaped was the day we had to bring him home.
Yes.
Because they said no longer.
more.
They called a code green or something. Patient had escaped.
And he schemed.
Yes, he
It
did.
was time for rehab, and he just wasn't feeling good that day.
That's sure.
And they told Mr. Penn, you could go lay down. It's
Yes.
okay. And once his nurse left, he got dressed, wheeled himself on out, and found the exit to the hospital.
Yes, he did.
And ran down the sidewalk.
And had no idea where he was.
No, it was very agitated with you because how dare you be late?
I was late. He was waiting for me to pick him up because he asked me what specific spot
Yes.
I park. And I told him up in the front. You'll see from the window. And I guess he said I was too late. He was
Yes.
going to leave without me. Literally, he did not think. He's in a hospital coat still, basically. And what made it so bad, he had no money. Where was he going?
And we're so far from home.
And he said he was going to catch a bus. And
He
there
was getting out.
There was no buses running.
No buses.
But this is what we went through.
And so during this time, it was hard. I would say it was hard, but it wasn't the hardest.
No.
I think the hardest was when he came home.
Yes. Because then we realized how sick he was.
Yes.
And he was determined, but then he was also saying he was a burden.
Yeah.
And, that becomes, because when you do marriage and when you're sincere, and that time comes when you're saying for richer, for poor, and for better, for worse, and sickness and health. So I was okay. I just wanted him near me.
And you guys were such a beautiful role model for marriage because,
thank you.
especially in that time,
Yeah.
it was really hard watching Pop that sick. And you stood 10 toes down for your husband.
Yes, because I've known him since I was 15. We got married when I was 20, had a child at 21.
So how hard was it for you during this time?
Well, I had to start asking God's strength because I realized he was going to take him.
Yeah.
And I had to accept it. And you were there to help me.
I was,
Because
yeah.
even when I didn't want to believe it, you were saying, Mom, I got you. Pop is not feeling good, so don't try to force him to make him feel better.
Yeah.
And you would say to me some nights, you've been together for a long time, and you're going to be together in each other's heart. And when you say that,
we had some long nights.
Oh,
we
boy.
had some
Yeah,
nights.
because anybody who is suffering Alzheimer's or have someone loved one.
Yes.
They can get up in the middle of the night and go out like they're going to work.
Absolutely. So we took shifts.
Yes, we did.
And I think the hardest part was because I was in college.
Yes.
So it was just you didn't want me to be up all night because I had class in the morning. But at the same time, for your health, you needed some sleep. And so there was one night we both nodded off and we heard this big bang. And he came in the living room and knocked the lamp and the TV table.
And candy dish all over the place. Glass everywhere.
So then we had to make sure he was okay, get him back in the bed. Or the night that he swore he was working.
Oh, my
And I had to go lay inside the jacuzzi.
Yes.
And with my blanket and pillow just to make sure that he was okay.
I tell you, he was so adamant about going to work until he got himself into the wheelchair and rolled himself into the bathroom.
Yes.
I mean, we had some good, interesting things.
The stories that we have,
yes.
I wouldn't change it for the world, but it was a very hard time. Yeah. And in the beginning, how we're talking about it now, and we can laugh about it because that part, it was funny. It was, of course, in that moment,
it was very aggravating because some
but
nights,
you can only laugh through it.
You
really could. But then it started getting hard towards the end when he couldn't walk and he felt like a burden.
Yeah.
And I don't want to cry, but I'm gonna cry.
Yes.
But I remember when you have to say that prayer.
Yeah.
That I don't want to see him suffer like this anymore.
Yeah.
I think it was I had to go to the Lord and say God, I'm about to lose my second father.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him suffer. I was picking him up on my back just to take him back into the bed because he couldn't walk without passing out and watching the seizures. it was just really, really hard. And I was like, I felt like a terrible person to pray to say, please take his suffering away. But at the same time, he looked so sad all the time.
And he was living for us because his body was tired and he didn't know how to explain it to me.
Exactly.
And then I don't even think I really wanted to accept it because I would tell him, hang in there. And the night, or I should say the afternoon, I remember that day, he, like you said, he looked so sad. So I said to him, let's take a wash off. You'll feel better.
Yeah.
And that's really...
That was like, it was the start of a 3-day journey, basically.
That's correct. And that journey, I just tell you that faith brings you through, because I didn't realize, once again, what I had to do. I was washing him up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was telling me goodbye. Yeah. Because I look at him, he would wave his hand in the air. Yeah. And that was when he was telling me that I'm ready to go. Yeah, and you came in. And
I had my first job.
Yes, and I didn't want to bother
you. Work from home. I was sitting there during the what you call it, not the interview. What is it? The the training.
Job training.
And it was the first day of training. And I just could hear something was going on. Yeah. And, like, I could see Jaya and Addison, like, kind of pacing. And then I texted Addison, was like, and Addison's my husband, for people that do not know. Right. But I texted him and was like, can you check to see if everything's okay, like, with Pop? Because I could just hear, like, something's not right. So he went in and he texted me back and was like, something's wrong. And so I was like, oh my goodness. But training was ending. I did not care. I wrote them. It was like, I'm having a family emergency. Can I leave early? She was like, yes. Even she said no, I'm still going to leave early. Yeah. And I logged right on out. I walked into the room and I was like, oh my goodness, Mom, we need to call 911. Yes. So we called 911. Pop-Out was like, he was already out of it.
Yeah, he was at this point holding my hand.
Yes.
And I think that's when I probably did not realize that I was holding him for the last time. Yeah. That's how that goes. And what happened, he was hello backed. Yeah. To Richmond. And they had to put the smelling sauce to his...
Yes. And I think that's when I knew then. Like, I remember once they took him out, I went into the room and I looked at Addison and I was like, this is it. Like, Pop's gone. Yeah. And he was like, don't say that. And I was like, this one's the real one. Yeah. And so, because every time, it's always hard because you always thought it was that time. Yes. But this time just felt different. Like, this time you just knew, like, Pop-Pop's not going to make this one out. Like, so I just remember sitting there. I was like, I got to be strong. I got to be strong for Mom. I can't let her see me being weak. Yeah. And so he was like, you're not being weak. And I was like, I can't let her see me like this. So I wiped the tears and was like, let's go. And at that point, we beat the helicopter to the house.
Yeah, we sure did. Yeah, I don't know who was driving, but
you don't know?
I don't even remember.
You don't remember who drove?
No, see.
I drove.
Yeah. See, I don't even remember.
I was flying on the highway. I remember we passed the cop. I had them 4-way lights on. I was easy doing over 100. Yes. I was beeping at people, get out the way. Yes. When you walked in and he was like, I'm here for James Penn. And they was like, he just landed. Like, they looked at us like, how in the world did you get here?
They sure did. I said, I'm here. I know he's being held back then.
And then obviously we, once we were able to go back, you and I went back. Right. And once we saw him, that was like, was the nail in the coffin.
And that, you realized it, but I think, only thing I can remember, because at that time, I started fading out. Yeah. And the doctor said there's a couple options, and I said, I'll take it.
Yeah, he gave, it was only one. It was really only one option, and it was either, the couple was either,
yes,
let the days play out. Right. Or do a brain surgery, because Pop-Pop had a brain aneurysm
at that point.
And, but he said the surgery, it's not going to save him. Right. It's just going to prolong him for family to come in to visit. Right. And you said do it. But I could hear what he's saying. Yes. We're just prolonging a death for people to say their goodbyes.
Right. And I would not have wanted that.
Absolutely not. I feel like I will say that laid heavy on my heart for a while. Ooh, don't cry. Ew.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay to cry.
It laid heavy on my heart because we're making the decision to pull the plug, basically. And
Yes.
I just felt like you hear the stories of,
Right.
well, they didn't pull the plug and they came back. And
Yeah.
I was like, did I make the wrong decision? And
Yeah.
that was hard for a while for me.
No, but he was already gone. So
I know.
you were doing me a favor because I would have been there for months waiting.
That's
for him.
true.
And remember, you let
yeah.
me go. And you and Addison and Jaya told me, we're going to go home tonight and let you spend the night
Have
with
your
me.
last night with your husband.
Yeah.
I remember that. That
and
was.
when you did that,
Take your time.
I was praying that I could just say one more time how much I loved him. You know what I mean? Because, but he twitched when he would hear my voice. And they said when you're in a coma like that, sometimes when they hear their loved one, it can help.
I know.
But at that time, he was so far gone until I realized that I wanted him to be, you know, and go on home. God
Pop and I had a conversation. It was about like a week before, 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
And he pulled me to the side, and my nickname for Pop was Fat. He called me Fat. And he was like, Fat, come here. And I was like, yeah, what's up, Pop? And he was like, no, it's a serious conversation. Come here, Fat. And I said, okay. And I sat down and I laid on his, like right on his stomach. And he was laying on his back. And he said, well, Fat, I'm not going to be here much longer. So you promise you'll take care of Mom for me? And I was like, Pop. And he was like, listen. And I said, I promise. And he was like, promise me you're going to take care of my wife. And I said, I got you, Pop. And so that conversation, I knew. He was letting me know. And he told me, like, I'm not going to see you graduate.
Yeah,
I'm not going to see you get married.
Yeah.
He told me I'm not going to see your kids, but I'm going to always be with you. And that conversation was really hard. And it's a conversation I do still hold very close to my heart. And I just feel as though, like, you know, I'm always trying to make him proud. I'm always trying to make Dad proud.
Yeah.
But that conversation is solidified that I'm losing both my fathers now. Like, I felt alone.
Again. Once again. Yeah.
And even though I had you, I had Addison, I had Jaya, it's just like, I've lost my world twice and a piece of me twice. And I just felt like, but I was never, during this time, I will say, because my faith was so strong, I wasn't angry.
No.
When Papa did pass, it was sad, of course, and we've already handled the feelings of what was going to happen. So it wasn't too bad. Like when you have a sudden death, like losing Dad, and then you're watching somebody pass away because of sickness, you have a little bit of time to kind of internalize your feelings more, and you have time to talk to God
even
more.
when you lose a mother or a father versus your spouse or your son, each death truly is a different feeling.
Completely.
You don't even know how you're going to make it through.
You really don't.
And you know, when you've been with somebody for almost 45 years, and then all of a sudden you wake up next day and they're no longer there. It realizes, but
that was my concern with you. Like, and I just, same thing that with Dad, when he passed and Papa said, don't leave me. I remember the first thing I said to you was, Mom, don't leave us.
Yes, you did.
My biggest fear was that you was going to check out right behind him.
That's what everybody feels. And you know, because I love so strong and I care so deeply about everyone. Until when I lose them, it could be a friend, but I'm telling you, you go through emotional stress.
Death is not easy.
No, it's not at all.
There's so many different traumas. I mean, this is just the two that we're talking about.
But I have had so
many different traumas. And I want to make it known that though we've gone through this, there are people out there going through 1,000 times worse than we are.
Most definitely.
And so, though it's a hard time, and in that moment, it looks so hard and so tough, and it's heavy on your heart, and it feels so negative. you hear us today being able to look back and laugh at moments that I cherish forever.
I just thought about, even though I've shed a tear or two, but that'll always happen. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, I know he's at a better place. Yeah. I know that he's looking down on us.
Absolutely.
The Lord knows that he is taking care of himself by dealing with us and what we do every day. He lets them see, glimpse. I can't wait to get to heaven. I know you guys hate to hear that.
No, we don't hate to hear it. It's just you act like you about to go tomorrow.
No,
like, no, if you could pack your bags and say this.
Well, if I could check out, I probably would. But then I realized I might be too nosy still. So let me find out what's going on. I got to wait for my grandkids and all. But anyway, that's another story. But when you said to me about how you promised him that you were going to take care of me, I just want to iterate that you're doing a very good job.
Thank you.
You and your husband, I don't know, and Jaya, my grandson, I don't know what I'd do without you.
Well, thank you.
And you've done a very good job.
And we don't know what we would do without you, so don't be checking out on us, okay?
I won't yet.
We got to travel. We got, we got life to live, mama.
That's true, but what I was thinking when you said, I told Pop-Pop.
Yeah.
I'll take care of her. And then sometimes a little demon thought came in my mind, said, some days I'm kind of hard for her to deal with. And I know you look at me and say, Mom, go sit down. I'm like, okay.
I mean, you're a little challenged, but so am I.
Yes, there you go. And then you got to deal with your husband. Yeah. And I think about it, he's got to deal with me. And then he realizes, he calls me Mama Shuffles.
Mama Shuffles.
And
that name has stuck, man.
Yes, I love it.
She is known as Mama Shuffles. Everybody in the call her Shuffles now. Like, it just fits.
But through all this, I just want people to realize that there's trauma in everyone's life.
Absolutely.
Keep living. And I've always taught you that.
Yeah.
There's somebody else out there.
That's going through something
that worse than you are.
Yeah.
So when you get that low, you know that's what I'm happy about. We know where we can go.
Yeah.
Sometimes we feel like he might not be there when we want him. But he's
right on
there.
time.
That's right. And always there.
And I feel like some people feel as though when you pray, you're supposed to get an answer right away.
Yes, no.
And you're not going to get an answer right away. And that goes right back to that analogy of the teacher is always silent throughout the test. Because your answer is not going to come when you want it.
When you want it.
And
but it's always going to be on time.
On time. And I think that's the hardest part about faith.
Yes.
Because you're going to go and you're going to ask God.
Yes.
And when you ask, when you ask for something, be ready for the test that's going to follow, right?
When you ask him and tell him that you are going to be one of his disciples, send me.
Well, you better get ready for it because it's a test.
And the water can get high.
Very high.
Okay.
And you have to be prepared. Like you can't go into a battle without any armor and any, you know what I'm saying?
There it is. This is why you're taught at an early age or whenever you accept Christ. You have to put on your armor every day.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean because you're now saved, nothing's coming at you.
No, everything is going to come at you.
What? Double.
At this
double
point,
fold now.
Are you ready to be a disciple?
There you go.
Okay. Well, you're really going to get tested.
Yeah. Yes.
So when it comes to trauma, and healing, and I know we're on the faith talk right now, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What are some things for you that you did every day to help you get through your trauma?
Well, most definitely pray. Because there's going to be times in your life you don't even know where to go, which way to start.
Yeah.
But when you believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, when he tells you, do nothing, just let me do it. Stop worrying. That's the hard part.
That's
you
so
put
hard.
it down, you pick it
right back up.
You put it
down
back
again.
down, pick it back up.
To it.
And the Lord said, my child, there she is worrying again. This is why he tells us. But this is what I did.
Yeah.
And I guess I've done it all my life. Although my faith gets stronger, sometimes I have to talk to myself and said, do you know that the Lord is taking care of this? Why are you still here? You should be doing this.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you never move on.
Absolutely.
And especially when you have children that once they've gotten a little bit better on trauma, they're ready to live their life. And you've got to be there with them because it's not fair for them to not be able to live life.
That's true.
Because when you're teaching their faith, they know where they're going.
That's
and
true.
Their source.
And you also one thing, and you do this, you've done it my whole life, and you still do it.
Yeah.
You read the Bible every morning.
Yes, I do.
You are in your word every morning.
Yes, I do.
You have gospel music playing every day.
Yes, yes.
So it's just your strength and foundation is on the Lord.
Right.
And I notice how strong you are. Like, a lot of people look at you and say, wow, she's going through so much. But your mental strength is not because of the things that you've gone through, but the mental strength has come from the Lord because you rely so much on him.
That's true.
And I want to be like that.
And you're instilled.
I'm young.
Yes.
I'm young.
Yes,
the mouth
where
still
you
be
are
mouthing.
now. Even where you are now, I was not at the age of 28.
Well, I take that as a compliment because I know
very much so.
My mouth was ruthless.
Yes,
and that was
and still
it was
can
rough.
get ruthless.
And it can.
But I just tell him, I just look at you and shoot you a look. Some days,
we was just talking. You used to have to tell me, what would Jesus do?
That's
Wear a
exactly
bracelet,
right.
Because my mouth was not nice.
And I think you just took everything at a negative state.
I did
at one time in life because
I was just annoyed all the time.
Yes, and angry.
I can get like that still.
Yeah,
I feel like I can still get like that.
We all do.
Yeah.
If you live in this world, you're going to live like that.
Yeah, you could get annoyed just walking outside now.
There you go.
My goodness, you heard somebody breathing, you're like, oh, shut up.
You get annoyed when you're in the house because you listen to the news.
So you can get annoyed so much. Social media make you annoyed.
Yes.
Any little thing can irk you in this world, and that's why I notice I'm not on social media like that because it's just there's so much negativity out there, and you don't need to hear it.
No.
Sometimes when you are constantly hearing it, reading it, you can feed into it, and it's just like, I don't even want parts of it.
And we're not even going to talk about that, but that's
a whole nother episode by itself.
Yes, that's social media,
especially because you didn't grow up with it. You know what I'm saying?
And now it's like I get so frustrated. But if you don't. I'm not joining in it, but I need to actually know something about going on. Yeah, because if not, you're left out.
Yeah,
and we have a lot of seniors that are left out.
That's
because
true.
Because they don't want to deal with it.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Mama Dukes, I think that's going to be the end of today's episode.
Okay.
So some questions to just sit with for everybody that's listening. What parts of your past still weigh heavy on your present? Where have you seen God show up? Maybe quietly, maybe boldly, right in the middle of your pain. And are you letting yourself feel or just forcing yourself to be strong? Those are some big questions, but they're necessary ones, because healing isn't just about surviving what hurts us. It's about walking by faith through the mess, the questions, and the restoration. And for me, when things get too heavy to carry, God has reminded me of this truth. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's Philippians 4:13.
And I can say for me, I always looked at the 30th Psalm, the 5th verse, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. That has carried me many, many nights crying in my sleep and even waking up. But you reap, but you know, once you come morning, God is already taken care.
Yes. And when it feels like everything and everyone was against me, I had to lean into this. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31.
And I can honestly say that I'm in Psalms. I think Psalms is one of my favorite books. But on the 34th Psalm, in the very first verse was, I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praise shall continually be in my mouth. Do not give up. Just hang on. Because he's not even hang on. They said don't even say hang on. Hang in there because help is on the way.
And when emotions ran high and my reactions weren't always pretty, I came back to this daily reminder that my Mama Dukes drilled in my head. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. James 1:19.
And I'm going to give you mine. And this is in honor of your father. Because when I had to teach it to him, he listened so well, he went and got a tattoo poo on his arm. And this was James 1:3. Knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh
your patience.
And that's what God asks of us. And that's what we need to do. Be patient. He's working on our behalf always.
Absolutely. These verses weren't just scriptures.
No.
They were lifelines.
Tell me about it.
Anchors for the days when the trauma spoke louder than the truth. And today was about what it means to walk life out with faith, grace, and a whole lot of patience, especially during those tough times.
Yes.
So until next time, stay rooted, stay radiant.